Hooker, you pissed off another vampire and then you took a goddamn nap.
Right in time for the music to end. Look at that. Couldn't have planned it better. We are back. Hello, hello.
Hello.
And with some of our originals back, we're feeling a little bit better and not quite so under the weather. Thank you guys for tuning in for hopefully another fun game. We, of course, have some updates in character. And tomorrow is my birthday. And Tuesday is Brittany's birthday.
Ooh.
Brittany, do the celebration dance. There you go. She usually has some sort of dance of some kind, usually like this.
Was that the right one?
Close enough, yeah.
Was it the wrong one?
No.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm out of practice of dancing.
Yeah. So,
2 weeks.
What's that?
My birthday is in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, nice. So November will be.
Sorry. Muting Twitch now.
Oh, yeah, that would be bad. Yeah, so November then will be another birthday month, yes?
No, 2 weeks.
No,
My birthday is the 24th.
24.
Oh, October, baby.
Yep. So I joined you.
Wow.
Oh, there's a bunch of you.
Well, I think maybe we joined you.
Oh, this is true.
So, oh, you know what? Nobody who did XP who did XP the game on the 1st?
I was not here.
I was not there either.
That was just Dale and Kat. Is that right?
Dale, Kat, and I think Rachel. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Well, I'll go back and look at it then and go get that figured out. Because I think we had it on the stream. I hope so, anyways. Ow.
You could just say 100.
Oh, Rachel says she did XP.
Yes. Thank you, Rachel.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, I didn't even see that. Yay.
How much was it?
It was 426.
Okay, writing it down. It's candy.
Yeah. So I will let you guys deal with that then for the XPs.
426?
No, not 426. Sounds like Rachel took it down, so deal with her.
I was just missing.
She's still in the chat, for crying out loud. Just message her there.
Oh.
I'm gonna just say, hey, what was the XP? Hey, she put up 5. Huzzah!
Does that include birthday XP? Oh no, you said that you forgot mine, so we'll.
Which is correct. Yes, I forgot yours, and I also did not know about Todd's because Todd was not there to remind me for the past 2 games.
Sorry.
To mention it. No, it's fine. So, yes.
It's another 213 apiece, so which equals to 426.
What do you think? I'm giving an XP stimulus package here or something, for crying out loud? Am I that orange?
I mean, I could use it.
Okay, so then Brittany and Todd, go ahead and roll a d6.
Let me get out a d6.
I was going to hit a website.
You can do it in the chat too.
Well, then I'd have to minimize the window. Okay.
Does your phone have like an assistant like Siri? Because I'll ask Siri sometimes to roll dice for me.
I got a 5.
6.
Nice. So that's 11, 12, 13.
And that's plus the 5 from before?
Plus the 5 from before.
Okay, so that is...
That is money, 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 money.
Money.
Okay, so I had adding that to what I had before.
So thank you to Rachel for taking that down.
Thank you, Rachel.
Saved me from having to make a trip to see if we had anything on the the last video, which I should probably make an effort of making sure that that's at least on the video. So that way, if we have to go back and listen to it, we can figure it out from there too if something happens. So, all right.
Usually, oh, sorry.
No, it's quite all right. So, great recap. None of you know anything because you haven't been here. And oddly enough, the people who are not here were actually heavily involved in the last game, so they are currently doing that. So at this point from the beginning of this month, which was the convention in Ashland, it's only been about a week at this point, so it hasn't been terribly long. Sophie, you were already aware of some things at this point. As Baron, it is kind of your job to, if nothing else, be the community organizer and basically call for where you want the meeting to take place.
I guess Anzio's.
Okay. Back to Anzio. So then everybody gets a text, a brief text, something along the lines of like, "Hey, we should probably get together and meet," and gives the the location of Anzio's. And oddly enough, you're all in your respective havens.
Has anyone tried to text or reach out to me in the past week?
Not directly, no.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of. There was the comment. I mean, there was a comment that everybody was going to the LARP, but that wasn't something. It was like directed to you. It was more of like an announcement of like who was going. Was all.
Okay. Because I know I planned on going to the LARP, and I was excited to go to that, but I don't remember. But I didn't go, and I didn't know if that would cause a head nod about what happened to me or not.
Nope. You are good.
Cool. So I'm going to reply back in the text, full paragraph. Just thank you so much for contacting me. I am so sorry. I have been away. I will touch base on where I have been in my journeys, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
So in that giant word vomit of a text, you would also note he's gotten adept enough to getting the accent marks down.
I have learned.
Next is emoji.
Which for those of you who are a little bit more savvier in tech than Henri, that's probably dangerous because that means his word vomits of expulsion that he commits in this chat are probably going to be a lot more detailed soon.
I'm not sure Sophie knows how to do accent marks in text. It's just not something she's really thought about.
Is that technology?
No, I'm not going to make anybody roll for that.
Okay.
Oh, good, because actually Sophie has 0 in technology.
I don't think Remus had a phone prior to when he met up with these yahoos.
Maybe I should buy a point in technology because she's a modern girl.
I don't even have technology on my sheet. I have computer. So
Yeah, you have an older sheet.
Oh, I have one in computer.
Oh, I have 2 in computer.
There you go.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah,
But yes. So I'm assuming everybody is going to go ahead and gather at Anzio's. Did any of you have anything in particular you were wanting to do in the meantime?
Yes.
I want to check in on Zachary, see how he's doing.
It's only been a week, so Zachary's still doing leather stuff. There's no like noticeable improvement or anything because it's only been a week.
All right. And then has Robert been able to get a hold of the people that we've contacted at the with the LARP and the Comic-Con, because I left that to him. So but we had the business cards and everything. So
Yes, he's been playing phone tag though.
okay.
They were apparently busy with the convention game, as he would let you know. And then from there, they were preparing for some other convention or something that was going to be happening later on that month. So they're kind of tied up in a convention season right now.
Then I'm heading off to Anzio's.
Okay. Brittany, you said you wanted something.
Yeah, so before I leave, I would like to check with Doug,
Okay.
specifically about those independent ghouls.
Okay. Well, Doug would let you know that he hasn't heard anything directly, but he did get a text recently from somebody from Dixie who had been looking for, had been looking to offload some extra that she came in and she came in contact with, and apparently worked something out with Anzios.
Okay. Now, just like for the record, this is kind of my understanding, is that they deal in both types of blood,
What do you mean by both types of blood?
like human blood and vampire blood.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's all. Are they supplying Anzios with vampire blood?
Yes, they are.
Did not know that was on the menu. Very interesting. Okay.
Well, not vampire blood. That would obviously like blood bond or whatnot. That's for their ghoul clientele. They'll, as an independent ghoul, you don't just walk into a restaurant and say, "Hey, give me what's on tap." That's all like back alley stuff.
Oh, I was thinking then maybe like any vampire who needs vampire blood could get it there. But
I mean,
I understand.
if you wanted to work that out, yeah, but then again, it goes back to the whole stigma of like, wait, we're not supposed to be on the menu here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, sort of thing.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that I suppose that could be uncomfortable.
George, did you have anything?
I think that since like in the week since everything happened, like I think Remus is not really sure how to proceed with some of the stuff that because we went to the Comic Con, we pulled some of that like
Mhm.
wood stuff out of the walls,
Yes.
like, but like I don't think Remus knows without asking the group. He's not really sure, kind of like what even where he would begin on that like sort of independent research. So I think he's probably just kind of given up on finding that out himself, and he'll probably bring it up tonight. And
Sure.
so,
That's a great idea, actually.
but what I think Remus has been doing in the past week is like trying to actually like take a break and try to be normal. And he did ask Jeeves to get him some Resident Evil games because people kept bringing it up. And so I guess he's probably been like trying to play those, and I'm not sure how good he's been at it, but like, you know, he didn't have a whole lot of luxury because of his like home situation growing up.
Okay.
So like, yeah, feeling a little bit like a probably like, oh, this is maybe what I would have been doing if I had been normal. I mean, aside from being like accidentally rich and saw the gold toilet and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't you give me a willpower check, difficulty 6?
Oh, is this to not get scared at the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
To basically see how you take it.
So for willpower, is that 1d6 or is that I roll all my willpower?
D10.
D10. Please don't roll a
D10. I'm
D6.
sorry. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking d6 from earlier.
Yeah, so with your willpower, however many dots in willpower you have, that's how many dice you're going to have.
Okay. 3 successes.
All right. So the first one, since you're brand new to it, you are you're coming at this educationally, like you said. You're trying to figure, okay, well, how would the other side, who has the time and resources, deal with this? So you got the good controller, vibration and everything. You made sure you got the right the right remastered sets and everything. So the first Resident Evil, when you were playing through it, the jump scare got you. The controller started vibrating, like, oh jeez, but it wasn't something that made you like throw the controller, break it, and just walk away. It's like, I'm done. You're like, so you kind of went with it and you poked at it and you
I
got.
didn't rage quit.
Yeah, no, you didn't rage quit. I knew a guy who has a legitimate phobia of zombies, and he tried
Not
playing.
experience in the past.
He tried playing Resident Evil the first one when it came out, and the first jump scare caused him to throw the controller. It broke on impact from the wall, and he didn't touch the game or the system for like a year.
Wow.
He just like done, bam. he threw it, freaked out, and he actually kept a loaded shotgun near his door.
Oh,
That's the level of his phobia. So, it's up to you if you had a good time with it or not. But by the time you got done with your fully investment, it was almost morning time. You would burn through many hours of like the first game, and kind of gradually from there.
okay. Yeah, I think Remus probably is like he's enjoying it, but he's also kind of aware of just like how weird his life is and how weird his life has always been, and like wondering like, oh man, I wonder if my mom would have like enjoyed playing this with me. And
Okay.
then got a little bummed, but still like kind of enjoying the experience.
What is
'Cause
your
Resident
what is your humanity?
I have 3 in humanity.
Go ahead and give yourself another point.
Okay.
Oh, and
Yay.
speaking of which, Sophie, you do the same.
Did you play video games thinking about your mom too?
No,
No, I got
actually,
a bunch of friends into therapy.
she sure did. She did some very humane things. She got people help.
Aw.
Where's my pencil?
That's uncharacteristic for us.
But after that, and you've had a chance, you've got the experience, sort of thing. Jeeves left it off at would you like me to get you other games, sir?
Um, sure. I don't know what's popular.
Are you looking for the scary games, or are you just looking for adventure games, or what was it that you were looking that tickled your fancy, sir?
Well, we were talking about some people that were at Comic-Con that were walking around in like very militaristic outfits, and people kept comparing it to this game, and
Ah,
I didn't get the references, and so I felt I should educate myself. But yeah, I guess anything. I like the last thing I need is more um affectations, and I'll kind of like smile and show them like the sharp canine. So maybe not anything more terrifying than this. Maybe something. You said adventure.
there's a whole venue of different types of games. Or would you
Getting
prefer me just to get some recommendations and present them to you?
Sure. Adventure sounds interesting though. I've never gone like on a trip or camping or anything. Like, is there anything like?
Oh, what? Absolutely perfect. Then we will get you the Uncharted series.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
get him cooking mama.
Thanks. He would just be weeping the whole time playing it, eating the eggs.
So with that, then everybody is making their way to Anzio's after you've had a little bit of time to check in on those who are most important. Oh, speaking of which, since none of you have been to the other games, make sure you take off 1 blood point for rising in the day, or rising for the evening, and 1 blood point per ghoul.
And I have 3 now.
And Shelley is recommending that Remus play Animal Crossing.
Oh,
I bet he'd like that one.
yeah.
He's a good soul.
George has never played it, but I think he might dig it. I think Remus might enjoy it.
Tetris.
No, Neopets.
Oh God.
Oh. You need to put it on your smartphone and do Pokemon. Pokemon Go.
Oh, good Lord. I can imagine Remus walking all over the place just like, you're like, I can't get this stupid thing to connect. Wait a minute. Why does it say I'm in Lithia Park?
Yeah, oh God. Yeah, being flanked by my 2 bodyguards.
I know. but there's a really important Pokemon over here.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not going there. I'll get eaten.
Guys, I need more Pokeballs. Can you hand me my black card? All right, cool. Thanks.
Okay. But everybody gets to Anzio's. I take it you have secured, Sophie, you have secured the private room?
Stairs room. Yes.
Okay. So they've got people obviously waiting outside for you to usher you up as soon as you all collectively come in. It is the 4 of you, or I should say 3 of you, and the 4th person who's there is Trudy's proxy, Sandria.
I feel like she's checking up on us.
Yeah, Trudy. Damn.
Well, it's been a little while. How are you all doing?
I'm surviving. Playing video games for the first time. That's interesting.
Oh,
I tried the video games years ago, and it's a ping pong. It was boop, 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 boop. It's not very fun.
Oh,
I think they've changed a little bit since then.
I've seen some of them. It is too realistic for me. I'd rather just to see what I can see. I got to meet a family member, a very distant relative. She is here from France. So it was very nice to meet her.
What, one of us?
No, she is my own. So she's a great niece, Charlotte. She is comes from my sister Marie. She is she has been in France quite some time. She knows there's this she calls it a website. It's ancestry dot something. I don't know. There was lots of dots. And so she said that she has found me on the ancestry. She does not know that I am the actual Henry or Henri. She has kept saying Henry. But like, no, I'm Henri. And so she's like, oh, so, but how do you fit into the family tree? And I'm like, I'm pretty far back. So that's I did not want to elaborate because she has come to the States because her father has been investigating things, and so she wanted to come to the United States as something to do with school, but more to just come to.
An exchange student?
Well, no, she's here.
A study abroad.
Yes, to study abroad. There you go. So she is her father's quite wealthy. There's money and there's a family. So she's just come here. she's living in San Francisco. I told her I'm leaving here, so that she was able to track me to San Francisco somehow. I think someone has fed her information. I do not know how. She does not know that she was speaking to the actual Henri. She just thought that was a Henry from the family tree. So I did.
Yeah, like
Cool.
yeah, I'm just curious, like how your information is in a database that somebody could just be like, oh, yeah, this guy's connected to our family.
Yeah, that's a little bit alarming, but I don't know, maybe not.
See, there was she was trying to explain to me that it's so Robert, he also does the ancestry.com, so he keeps track of family. So I knew that she of her existence, um, but I did not expect her to come to America. But she was given information from someone. It was just given to her as an email, and she said that she knew that I was in San Francisco, and so she Robert he tracks emails, so he received her email, and he connected us together to make sure that it was safe. So I met with her. So I I I chose the face I have now, the Marcel Marceau. That is the face I chose. I will no longer do the Justin Trudeau face, even though I like him. He is a very nice man, but he's too recognizable. So this Marcel, it works better. So,
Mm.
but she was very nice. Her English was very good. I was very surprised. She says that she speaks English and French, and she speaks a little bit of Spanish. She says, but I did not try that because I don't speak Spanish. So it was nice meeting her. But she's staying in San Francisco to, as you say, study abroad. And she may come up here. She will email me, or how you say, she send me the text. She will send me the text to let me know if she is coming here.
Very interesting. I wonder who sent her that initial email.
I don't know. She said it was from an anonymous. Was a tip? Was it an anonymous location? So, but it was like from a reliable source that she paid money for, so she trusted it.
Hmm.
That she paid money for the information.
Yes, they have. Her father has hired some detectives. There is. It's a long story. There's so many things that go on with my family. When his sister died, there was some complications, and so he's investigating things, and so she's just here to meet family, but he's kind of being a bastard about finding what things going on.
Well, be careful.
As always, yes. I have been good. I have not murdered one person in this past week and a half. I have been very good. I have been trying so hard. Some people deserve to be murdered, but I am just working hard. Um, so I'm very proud of myself. Ben, Ben was helped me a lot when we were at the Comic Con and had to deal with people and talk to people, and just I think part of it is just the ability to walk away. So it's like when
Hmm.
you know that has helped quite a bit. So I have fed. I just have fed on a lot more people than I normally will feed on. That's all. Speaking of, I'm going to get a drink. If that is okay.
That's a great idea. I am a little peckish myself. So I'm gonna go get a drink.
Yeah, I'll get one too.
Okay.
I might actually get two.
I'll join you in the two.
Well, there is enough
We're gonna
for
hit the sauce heavy tonight.
there is there is enough for all. Just fine. If you need to replenish up to 2 points.
And what have all of you been up to? Lady Baron, what have you been doing? And Remus, you look dazzling as always with your new suit.
Oh, I spent some time with the psychiatrist gentleman to get to know him a little better before you may be aware that some folks in town have a harder time dealing with all of this chaos that we live in, and I wanted to see if he was on the up and up before recommending some of our friends to him. So we had a lovely conversation. He actually mentioned that he left Denver under duress, and essentially the prince um, had it in for him suddenly, and he thinks that there was some kind of foul play, some influence that convinced the prince to try to kill him, and so um, just in case we have anybody from Denver trying to come after him, I've sort of asked some of our friends to keep an eye out. So um, be vigilant as always.
Okay. Speaking of vigilance, so while you guys were at the LARP, Ben and I went to the Comic Con in order to see what we could find. Um, I
Mr. LARP, I was going
Mhm.
to go to the Baron. I was looking forward to the LARPing. That would have been so much fun. I'm sorry, did not mean to cut you off, but I forgot that I was going to go to the LARP.
No,
Uh,
that's fine.
I heard that Doug was there. He's convinced them all to make him prince.
Okay, okay.
So
Is that a good thing?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
You seem proud of him.
Well, I mean, he did use some of our advantages to to get himself there. So of course I'm a
What do
little
you
proud of him.
What do
Okay,
you mean?
Doug, is it Mr. Doug? He is the the high pitched fellow, right? He's like, oh, I'm going to go do this. That's Doug,
And
and he's going to be the prince. That's
I've asked him to subtly um, steer them away from anything that's a little too close to the truth. So hopefully that'll work out.
Wait, you said he used advantages. Like, what do you mean?
Well,
Like,
he's my ghoul.
wait, so he's cheating at the game? Isn't the point of the game to like I don't know, I've not done it, but like isn't that kind of cheating?
I don't know about cheating.
I mean, if I decided to be like a nighttime Olympic runner and I'm using celerity, like does that seem like a fair race?
Well, do you always follow human rules these days?
I mean, what's the point of the game if like if
I
you're
think
just gonna like cheat?
I think it's not more along the lines of playing the game itself as for having the fun part of it. I think it's that this is what my newfound trying to work as a masquerade into our benefit. So if he is guiding, is he using like presents or something to like to ooh and awesome or
I say, as long as you're being careful, what's the point of having these abilities if you can't use them to your advantage?
I mean, I I suppose in certain situations, but it just kind of seems like if you're gonna play a game of poker and you have the ability to read like somebody's aura, which I can do now, sort of like doesn't that kind of take the fun out of like the chance of the game? Like if that's sort of the point of it, but
Well, if
um,
the point is the chance of the game, then don't use it. But if the
yeah.
point is some greater purpose that you need to get the game to accomplish,
like
I
I can tell
mean,
you this right now. I am the king of hide and seek. I am the
yeah,
master of that game.
that's what I mean. If we're to play hide and seek and you just make yourself invisible, like then like okay, well, where's the challenge?
I
But I
win.
mean, yeah,
See, if we're just playing for fun, then maybe we would want to establish some ground rules. But if he's playing hide and seek with a werewolf, obviously he wants to use his advantages.
This
Oh
is true.
yeah, well, in a life or death situation, but like they're just a bunch of nerds in a park. Like, what's the point of like? It just kind of seems like where's the fun of not just using what you got as opposed to like, well, let me supernaturally affect the outcome of this game to make me the winner. Because if he's going to be Prince, like it already sounds like he's kind of gamed the system.
Well, I wasn't there to see it, so I'm not sure.
Oh, I was not there to see it either, but I must say, for Doug Zabid as a prince, there is some power going on with that. That is not natural. So
So as I said, I'm excited to see how that pans out.
Hopefully, it'll be recorded, I suppose. But or I guess maybe not. Yeah, because if he's going to be using powers on screen, that's probably not a great idea. Uh, but yeah, but anyway, so here's one of the things that I picked up, and I'm gonna like reach into my suit pocket, and I'm gonna pull out like kind of the hunks of like wood that I pulled out of the wall. I'll say like we found a lot of this at the in the actual convention center. It looked like whoever was there and was like using these like like some sort of explosive. It was it was jammed up with wood, like a shrapnel. Um, I thought
that would
I
be
thought
very effective against us. I
yeah, no, I thought that perhaps this was like Inquisition style stuff, like because it seemed very much like the Van Helsing kind of plan, but um, I can't remember if it was. I think it was uh, Benedict who was telling me that no, that there's like vampires who specifically create stuff like this in order to take out other vampires. Do you all know anything about this? Like any clans that or any groups that specifically do this kind of like um
Hunting.
yeah, this kind of like I don't know, this very specific like I mean, I don't know what kind of wood this is, but it was like embedded in walls and it didn't look like it belonged. So I thought I'd take a piece just to kind of show you all and kind of get us maybe get some enlightenment.
I'm gonna grab the piece and do spirit's touch.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll.
Uh, 6.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you don't really pick anything up from it. I mean, it was an IED, improvised explosive device, so you're not really going to get anything from that.
Not like I guess the last people that touched it was
No.
Remus.
Yeah, not like that. At best, you would just get a vision of Remus, picking it up.
Oh.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing is good for stuff that has been undisturbed. Or
Has
if the
something
only thing that's happened was
highly
like
emotional.
yeah, like say for example, if somebody took a dagger and was like super emotional, knifed somebody and then left it. You'd probably get something from it, or possibly because it's all still intact. This is a device that just blew up. So
All
really
right.
the only thing you're getting is, if anything, is Remus. But Xandria chimes in, and Xandria says, "Oh yeah, yes, we've heard of those sorts of things before. It's not terribly common, but it does happen.
Do you know who tends to make these kind of things?
Usually Sabbat terrorists.
Well, shock of shocks.
Sabbat terrorists. Wait, which side was using these? Do you know?
I wasn't there. I couldn't speak to it. All I know is that this is what we found inside of of the actual like Comic Con. So whatever it was, they used it inside the place. There was also
It
there was
happened
also
so fast when Ben and I was there. Benjamin, it was I could not say who used it. Um, it was just explosion. Is it
Mortal hunters could use them as well, I suppose. I mean, it's the idea here is you're sending off shrapnel of wood to essentially stake your kind.
whoever it was, they knew what they were doing because, I mean, I'm not sure who, but like the fighting continued outside, and there were high caliber rifle rounds like like slammed into the floor or slammed into the concrete, and like based on what we were looking at, they must have been shot from high up, and there was like a parking garage and like other structures nearby. Like whoever did this was not this was planned. They had contingencies. They had time to make this stuff, and they must have known that there were going to be our kind there.
So what did they want?
I couldn't say. I wasn't there again. Like
Have we gotten any video footage?
uh, I don't know if we'll get more than what was on the internet, like people pulling out their phones and stuff. Like I mean, we didn't talk to anybody, so I don't know if there was like footage from the convention center or anything. But
No, you guys have
um,
not gotten any footage from the convention center.
I'm gonna look on YouTube and see if I can find something. Just because I don't think Sophie's seen it before.
Nothing like that, but there are some clips on YouTube and media share sites and whatnot that do show the opening, or not the opening, but like what occurred outside and whatnot. And a couple people who have posted clips just before it from inside, but you get almost nothing from it. It's just the dust and explosion really from the inside.
Hmm.
But based on what he's saying, I mean, there's enough of the footage on the outside that yeah, it does look like this was clearly planned and coordinated, and they caught somebody completely by surprise.
Is the footage that I'm finding obviously incomplete? Like obviously unhelpful? As
Um,
though maybe other videos had been taken down?
you can roll for it if you want. Give me well, why don't you give me intelligence and computers or technology if you have it.
One.
If you had to guess, no, doesn't seem to be anything of that nature. It just looks like there was a lack of maybe good vantage points. So a lot of the footage, a lot of the ones you're seeing are people who had been filming stuff outside.
Okay.
may I see the wood? I just is it? I'm just gonna reach out.
I'll pass it over.
Right. I just want to inspect it. I'm like, is it, does it look, is it like a shard of wood, or is it,
Mhm.
is it shaped like a dart?
No,
Like,
it's a shard.
okay. So I just, so I'm like, it's just wood. It's not a dart or spine that has been shot off or something. So like it's
It
uh,
might have been at one, given your crafting skill, even though you don't use wood primarily, you use leather. It could have been something at one point in time, but with it impacting the harder surface, it probably splintered and shrapnel from there.
oh, okay. So I go, it may have been crafted. I'm not sure. This is not my specialty. Um, you mentioned the Van Helsing. So he's this the mortal men that this is there's a group, right? That they could do this. That uh he hunted some vampires. So like is men like him that could do the same thing?
Well,
Wait,
if I don't mean to interrupt, but the city did have a problem with hunters not too long ago, if I recall.
yep.
Yes.
yeah. So hunters. That's it. Hunters.
But if we have a hunter problem, why haven't they come after us? Us.
I feel like it couldn't be hunters because hunters at least for the most part, they try to do their like whenever they mess with us, it was they tried to minimize human casualties. The stuff going down at a Comic Con seems more like the Sabat terrorist angle.
Uh,
'Cause
I concur.
yeah,
That makes sense. That's Sabat don't care. You know, they're going to play their games, and who cares who gets hurt? Makes sense.
So that means the Sabbat are attacking other Sabbat members?
Maybe they could have clan wars, where they say.
Maybe some of them were heretical. That's happened before.
Oh. That's above my pay grade, but I'll try and figure that out.
do we know if any of the people who well, because if there was one of our kind that was hit by one of these things and it would they would essentially be staked, right? They would like fall and just be a
Mhm.
body, right?
Well, is it have to go to the heart? I mean, if it would just be damage if it hit somewhere else, but yeah, it's if it.
Do we know did anybody die or was anybody taken to the hospital?
There were some individuals who were taken to the hospital by standards, but they've
I
of course
wonder.
been released.
Oh, they have. Okay. I was wondering if there was like
Injuries,
one.
yeah.
I was wondering if there was one that got staked, but they just assumed that this person was dead because no
Oh
pulse,
no, we
lying on the
don't
floor.
have any record of that. It seems like the people who were closest, there were superficial damage of congoers, and then a lot of people maybe harmed just in fleeing outside. So it doesn't look like there was any direct retaliation against the people, despite the recklessness of the attack.
Hmm.
Then again, if they are heretical Sabbat, in my experience, they really don't care about human casualties, and they don't care about masquerade breaches. So they probably wouldn't have been. I mean, there would have been a lot more cleanup.
I mean, Henri, didn't you say that you saw the gargoyle lady that you recognized there?
She was there. Yes, she was walking with the group. Yes.
Was she part of the group that did the attack, or was she the part that was attacked?
Can I roll to remember that?
You guys weren't able to confirm that. There was a lot of smoke.
So I'll say that there was so much smoke. I do not remember who she was with. There were two groups. It was so fast. It came out of nowhere. I mean, we were one moment we're
Why don't
hubbing.
you why don't you give me a and wits and awareness check, difficulty 9.
And have I? Oh, sorry.
Awareness is not on my sheet.
Awareness?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awareness is on the newer ones.
Oh, do you have an old school sheet?
He does.
Maybe you need to.
Looks like I need to spend some experience.
Yeah.
We're going-
Lord knows you've got plenty of it.
Yeah. That's
426.
26. I have 0 successes
0. Okay.
on difficulty 9.
Yeah. So like what I was saying, it was a lot of chaos, a lot of smoke. The flashes from the explosions and whatnot. I mean, all you could really confirm is that the gunfire and whatnot, as you and Benjamin kind of laid low, and then tried to work your way through the smoke. Pretty much.
They obfuscated us, and we moved forward. We were able to get closer, but still, there was just so much going on. And to be honest, I am not used to being around that many people. In a battle scene like that, but it was new for me. I was just overwhelmed.
Oh yeah. No. I yeah. I understand that those kind of situations it can be hard to it can be hard to figure out who did what when bullets and explosions are going off. Um, You guys mentioned that there were people there who were involved in the fighting, but that were dressed like they were from the Resident Evil games, the Umbrella group.
I do remember the umbrella, the red and
Yeah.
white. I do remember that.
Okay.
Uh, they were marching in a very military fashion. They looked um how did Benjamin say the cosplayers? I think that is the word. Uh, the cosplayers um when they are when they do not look the part. See, so there's a lot of cosplayers have their costumes. They look sloppy. They have the military and they look sloppy. But the umbrella people, they look very military. So they was marching and it was impressive. But I was like, oh, look at them go. But Benjamin's like, oh no, look at them go. I'm like, oh okay. So it was different reactions. I just thought they were just well trained and but he recognized there's the guns first, and then I recognized too as well. They are real guns they were carrying.
So possibly militaristic.
Well, they carried real weapons, so I mean, it was not like the other prop weapons that the other ones were carrying, the little play toys.
I wonder if I wonder if there's footage from because I mean, if they looked convincing, maybe somebody else like before the attacks, maybe somebody else got footage of this group. Because I mean, if they looked convincing enough to be like, I mean, the fact that they had real weapons and they like, but they were still showed up dressed as video game characters. Like maybe there's footage or photos of them before the attack. Maybe we can. I mean, it's a lot of sifting to go through a bunch of images and stuff, but like, who knows? Maybe I don't know. Is there
You know
well,
who I think could do that rather quickly?
Doug, the
Your,
prince?
your new buddy.
Oh, Liam. Possibly. I've never really. I haven't asked him to comb through the internet before. Well, I can ask him. I can see if he'd be if he so that's something he'd be able to do.
I would wonder they had to have the contacts inside because when Benjamin and I we entered into the Comic Con, there were stations you had to walk through, and there were like the beeping machines that you had to walk through. I had
Security
to
protocol.
Metal detector.
I had to leave my sword behind. I had to leave my gun behind. So we Benjamin said you don't bring that kind of thing inside because it will be detected. So we lift that into his vehicle. So um, so they had to know someone there in order to get their equipment inside. Whether they knew someone that worked there or they knew someone within security, I don't know.
Or they could also, if they were vampires inside that thing, like they could also be using their abilities, not unlike Prince Doug,
No,
to
you're right. They could use some kind of presence or obfuscate to walk inside I mean there are we are dealing with human matters, so I'm thinking in a human way, and I that's you're absolutely correct. Yes, there
no,
are.
it's you raise a good point though, because if they did have like an inside person, investigating the security might be a good avenue to maybe find a clue. Um,
Do they film the security? Is there a camera that watches all that? I don't
they're
know.
probably if there were going to be cameras anywhere, they probably would have them at the checkpoints, like where people are supposed to go through, just in order to catch, like in case an incident goes down, to have evidence of it. It might be worth it to see who's been hired in the most recent, like in the month before the con. Perhaps there was, somebody who showed up or somebody who applied for a job and that is has left since is no longer employed there. That would give us a person to look for.
But wait. There is a discovery that Benjamin and I made. The camera. So when I was wearing a mask, and it's so when you saw my mask, you saw me as Marcel. But then when someone took a picture of me, they saw my true me, my true face. They saw the skin and everything. So Benjamin and I, we had discovered that the cameras they break through the obfuscate. So I do not know in all cases if you are invisible walking around. Does the camera see that? I don't know. I do know that we that's why I just dropped my face because they're seeing my face anyway, so it was easier just to do that. But that was new for me. I did not know that was a thing. Yeah, so so I
Very
don't.
interesting.
So that's if they are trying to sneak in with obfuscate, they could get by the security checkpoint. But if someone is watching from somewhere else, or when you watch it later, you will see them as they will not be. I think they will not be invisible. This I have not tested that theory as far as to hide into. But I do know my mask was revealed with the camera.
So if we can get footage from the security at the convention center, then perhaps
That would.
Liam could go through it.
Mhm.
We can
That would-
test right now. You all three of you. You have there's the phones that you can record the video. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's make a test. I will hear, and I just so you film me. Go pull your phone out, and then I'm gonna obfuscate right there. I'm gonna just vanish from mind's eye. So
Okay. I'll start recording the room.
I'm gonna do it because I don't think I knew that Henri has a I know that he changes his face, but I didn't realize. I don't know if I've seen his real face. So
Okay.
so I've just poofed out of existence basically. So I'm invisible right now. So it's like actually I think we need to roll.
I think for these meetings, I put my or at least what I'm about to do, I'm gonna put my phone in like airplane mode before I start taking try to do this whole video thing, just because I'm like, I wouldn't, I want to be careful.
Okay.
That's
So
probably smart.
So, Jerome, if you want me to, I need to roll charisma stealth versus their wits alertness.
No.
No, okay.
No.
And then
So
what would be
poof.
fun
He's no longer there. And
now
when
if they fail horribly on wits and courage, they don't even remember that I was there. That would be fun. No.
But yeah, no, you're moving your phone around, and there he is, looking like the Baron from What We Do in the Shadows.
Which I still haven't seen, so I'm going to look that up real quick as like a visual.
Oh yeah, there you go. You might want to.
So I'm just waving. I'm waving at Remus right now. Like,
Let's see. Oh,
That's what Sophie said.
Surprise.
I did not know that's what you look like.
Even if you haven't seen the rest of the series, you have to watch that episode where they take the Baron out for a night of the town. It's hilarious. It is so funny.
Where he's got a red hat on and a
Yes.
popped collar.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
Long hair.
no, I've got like wispy to no hair.
Wispy to
Yeah.
no hair.
oh, it's Doug Jones. That makes sense.
Of course, it's Doug Jones. Who else would play that?
It would be either him or Alexander Ward. Those are like the two
Nice.
like monster dudes that I've heard of.
Good old Alex Ward.
That's the guy from Pan's Labyrinth, right?
Doug Jones. Yeah.
Doug Jones. Yeah.
And Hellboy.
He's
And
done a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Lots of stuff.
Okay. Oh, now that I've been horrified.
Didn't he play Gollum too?
No.
Oh,
Oh no,
And-
that's
Andy Serkis.
we got it. Never mind.
So
All right, so I'm waving at Remus. Does so Remus can see me and everything? Do I see his reaction on his face and all that?
oh, of course.
Okay, so as soon as I see his reaction, I come back out and I'm like, so you can see me.
Yeah. Uh, that is good to know. I was not aware that is that that's your true form? I'm so used to seeing you with other people's faces, I guess.
Oh, here. So I just drop it. So I drop the mask. So I have my true form then. So I'm like, yes, this is my true and the glory, and there's the wrinkled face, and this is just it was
Oh, how old are you? Like I honestly don't. I have no concept of time with this stuff. Like how I know. I'm sorry. We're off track, but like I have so many questions.
I am 259 years old.
Okay, that's really old, but that's not even like
Or
that's
37. I mean, I was 37 when I was embraced.
but like that's also not even that old compared to like the oldest ones in our
Oh
you
no,
know.
no, no! My master was much older. So
I'm gonna put my hand on Remus's shoulder and just kind of lean over and say, that's a thing about Nosferatu. Um, they didn't start
Oh,
out looking this way,
oh no,
but
no!
they
I
they
looked
all
normal before. I'm gonna try and look like I did when I was alive.
that
Uh,
okay. I've
I
I've se-
I
Okay.
I've seen no the movie, like not the whole. I haven't seen the movie, but I'm aware. Okay, I get the reference now.
So you're gonna go off of what you think you used to look like. Give me a just give me a wits and alertness check, difficulty 8.
okay. Yeah, I have not seen myself for quite some time.
What do I look like? That's how I'm gonna be because I don't keep photos of myself.
I botched. I have 22341. So I botched.
Oh
Sorry.
wow. Okay, so he changes and he's like, if this is what I would normally look like. And wow, becoming a Nosferatu was an improvement.
Oh,
Like
Oh,
he looks like when he granted he looks like younger, like he was supposed to be 30-ish or something, but he looks like he stepped in a vat of leprosy and contracted like the black plague while climbing out. I mean, he looks like you could catch something just by being in his presence.
gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Henri.
I'm like, oh wait, do I? Okay, so I'm sure I see the reaction to my face, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm like, maybe something went wrong. Can I see you in a mirror so I can see
Would
how I look?
Well,
would
remember,
would
you aren't going to see like how you look like that. Just based
yeah would
upon their reaction, you clearly got something wrong.
All right, let me try this again. So I'm gonna do what's alertness again.
wait,
Difficulty 8 or
Yeah,
9.
difficulty 8.
obfuscate doesn't show up in a mirror,
It would for you,
but not for
not for him, right?
well, is he
Wait,
still obfuscated, or is obfuscate part of the face thing?
Yeah,
yeah, my mask of a
Oh,
thousand faces. What I'm doing right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
I have 2 successes this time. I got a 10.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so you focus again at this point. You're like, maybe I got something wrong, or with my mental image, and you circled back to a different mental image that you felt was you recalled better. Good, bad, or indifferent, and now he looks much different.
Oh,
Looks like just kind of a plain Jane peasant, from the French countryside somewhere.
let's say is so like on uh hold on, I gotta go through my notes, but like is he a total hottie like the glass blower werewolves
Not even
or glass
close.
walker?
No,
Not
not
even,
even
no?
close.
Oh, glass walkers. That's right. Oh yeah, Noah, severe hottie. I wrote that in my
Right?
notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
No, no,
hey,
I came from a very poor family.
He's not.
So
He's not ugly, but he's not turning heads either.
yeah.
Sophie doesn't bother looking. She's just trying to hold on to her lunch.
Are you at the one that just the homely like actual face? Like that's the one you're like, what?
No. She's afraid to look at the new one.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Not the old one.
I thought you were like, oh, gross, a peasant. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Well, does he look homeless, or does he just look poor?
No, he's still in his clothing he came in with.
My face would look poor, not homeless.
That was
Yeah.
a joke. That was a joke.
All right, so yeah.
He looks like some he
Oh.
looks like, you know, originally like Cthulhu toe fungus, you know, and
Oh,
Sophie's like, that's
yeah.
that's not great. And then all of a sudden he turns to what he was supposed to look like, and Sophie's all
Oh.
yeah, and Sophie's all.
Oh, why is he wearing a potato sack? Like,
Is that a potato sack or is that your face?
I know.
You're not even wearing shoes.
Yeah. Why does he have a rake? Like, oh, like that's now what my brain is like. You look like the American Gothic, the farmer. Like that's what your human form looked like before you got bit.
He's a little old. But yeah.
He's
That's where I
a
paid the
little
price.
French Amish.
Yeah.
French Amish.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, so that being said, yeah, Xandria says if you were to get your servant involved, you would want to probably get him on location so he could access their computers directly.
Yeah, he works better like at the computer. I guess the thing now we have to do is our pretense. Like how are we just gonna walk in and we're just gonna razzle dazzle them to let us get access to their computers, or
We could.
I mean, um if it I worry about the Sabat causing ruckuses in our home. Um Not just for us, but also just for the people here who are not asking for any trouble. Um so I would like to look into this, but I also understand. I mean, you called us here for a reason. I don't know if you have something much more pressing than this.
Well, I was hoping that we'd have a few more heads to put together on this issue, but yes. So remember the property that we purchased regarding the werewolves up north? I mean, the
Mhm.
property up north regarding the werewolves south.
It's a forest
Yeah.
area.
Right. Um, so it sounds like the wolves would prefer, or they don't want to speak with us um, unless we have some. Basically, they need proof that we mean well. Um, and the proof that they want is basically show us the boogeyman. So we need to capture Max Hate alive.
Oh, so easy.
Right. That's
I
what
will.
I said.
I'll go do that tonight. No problem.
So the whole buying a giant plot of land and trying to like beautify it was
Not enough.
These
oh they,
bastard puppies. They can't do it themselves, but they have to have us try to.
Pretty much they don't believe that he was the cause of all of this, and that's what they want to see.
Their problem is our problem.
it's just more people having us clean up their messes.
Ashland in a nutshell. So obviously, that's not something that we can just up and do. So we need.
No.
Because he's gone back into hiding. We're not really sure where he is, right? Unless do they have a clue to send us in the right direction?
No.
But at least b- have we agreed to it? Because I guess by agreeing to it, at least we can like buy some time. It's not like we have to catch him tonight, right? Or are they gonna like hear the
No. They. I don't remember them having some kind of a deadline, but
just proof that we were dealing with Max Hate's
How
special brand
long
of
have they been hunting for this man?
I don't know.
I mean,
I agree. This is a tall order. Colin's working on trying to figure out some kind of advantage that we can take also. This is why I was hoping that we'd have the rest of the crew to talk through this with. But
Well, I
yeah,
apologize,
it's
Miss
not
Lower.
tonight.
Benjamin and Catherine are currently doing a task for one of our new businesses.
that is fine.
Oh,
do
okay.
we is there any like I it's always every day is my first day at this stuff. But like is there a way to like suppress a werewolf from shifting? Like cuz like I think I could probably take him until he turns into something that my autopilot takes over and tells me to run from. Like if we could stop him from becoming like our worst nightmare, like is there a way to do that? Can we like splash him with some like I don't know hair removal oil or ointment or something? Like I don't know if we've ever had contingencies for this kind of thing, but like
There, magic does magic things. I mean, that might be something that your husband might be able to look into for us because I do not know. I do not know enough about like lycanthropes to say.
Same. And part of me wonders if we were to ask a werewolf that
I'm
what
going to say that. What
brings
can
them
make
to us,
you very vulnerable?
they
Besides that,
probably wouldn't tell us.
do we know if they have
what's your
weaknesses?
weakness? Can you let me know? So,
I
Do
mean,
we
silver, right?
is that actually
Or is
'cause
that a myth?
I mean, people say we're weak to garlic, and here we are in an Italian restaurant.
I'm actually allergic,
oh,
but
that's
Like, but not anymore, right?
still,
Wait,
uh,
you're still allergic to garlic?
is that a clan weakness for you, or is that it is just for you?
guess it's just a Sophie thing.
Oh, okay.
Ha-
I know.
Well, I mean, I know a vampire that could not go over running water. I've
yeah,
repelled
because
some have repelled by crosses. I just say there are some superstitions are true, and some are not per se.
Yeah,
Um,
I was allergic to garlic before, so
I guess I'm just not sure how you can still be allergic because you're
I have no idea.
you're you're not alive anymore, right? Isn't like don't you gotta like if you put garlic near a person who's dead, like does their body still break out in hives? I don't know.
No, I basically just like
Well,
get away from it.
point of order, you're not actually dead.
Aren't we though?
That's why you're called the undead.
Well, but we are though, right? Like cold, like no, like but
Heartbeat.
I'm probably not the best for this sort of thing, but the curse that animates your body is magical.
it is as the werewolves would say, we are an abomination to life. We are so we are not alive. We are not dead. We are somewhere in between as the undead.
There you go. Good way of looking at it.
And because of that, we're still allergic to like, well, some of us are still, we retain allergies that we had in life. Interesting.
Maybe before I was a vampire, I like to kill, and now after I became a vampire, I like to kill more. I don't know. It's but maybe it's not the same thing.
Yeah, no, we're definitely talking about something different here.
Yeah, I was I was very different when I was alive, but yeah, this okay. I wish I could go to a website and read articles on it, but like nobody would ever publish them because it would just be
Masquerade breaches.
yeah.
Well, the books that Benjamin and I found, the roleplay books, they were pretty close in a lot of places. It was kind of frightening, how close a lot of the things were.
Would that be something we could like? Because one of the things that we've had trouble with is when we have people come into town and we don't have a way of like introducing themselves or knowing where to go. What if we? I mean, it's a little gauche, but like, what if we had like a, oh, if when people are new in town, like in all of the like places and like the libraries and stuff nearby, like we have like a, pamphlet for like, oh, come and play this vampire game, learn about the, but like we disguise everything as if it's like related to that kind of thing, and it gives people an opportunity to like go to a place where they can get real information about like, where the safe places are, like where to go, like come in here to Anzio's to get a drink, like where safe haven is. Like, is that something we should? Because I mean, at this moment, we have people just coming into town. We don't even really know where they're going, who they're talking to. Like,
That's a good point. I never quite understood how people know where to come.
You
By
just ask, you
Oh,
ask around.
I can
word.
actually answer that for the Camarilla impaired.
oh, okay,
Judging by all your looks, I'm going to imagine that's all of you.
I
yeah,
was Camarilla for quite some time, but
it's my first day.
Typically, the Camarilla is proactive in cataloging those who arrive to the city.
So they have like a census taker like at the borders, like.
They have what's called a sheriff, and
Okay,
the sheriff or the scourge, who is more of the Terminator persuasion, is they're usually the types, and their deputies are the types that patrol and wander and frequently monitor the areas that most kindred would populate: clubs, parks, large gatherings, that sort of thing.
you also have to with the prince as a it's you with a baron and the prince. You had to um if you embrace someone, you had to report. If you ghoul someone, you had to report. You had to let them know. I mean, they kept their fingers and tabs within everything within the Camarilla.
Oh, I don't know about the anarchs and the barons, but yes, that is another thing that they use to keep tabs on the growing population.
There is actually, I heard there is a position with anarchs that tries to keep tabs on other kindred in the city, and it's called the Weeper, I think.
I do not know. I know there is they do collect information the same way. As I went from city to city, I would have to report. So you um
Right,
and
right.
part of it is when you were leaving one city to go to the next, is in the Camarilla you have to ask the questions. I'm going to go to Ashland. Who is in charge? So when you're leaving one city, you have to and you have to have the information before you go there, so that you know that you can announce yourself. So, um,
Okay. Who was Hesperia's weeper? Did she have one?
No, we didn't have any kind of really positions. I thought maybe I would build it out, but we've been a little busy to figure out those sort of things.
And it's a sweeper.
Oh, it's Sweeper.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds ominous.
Essentially, my understanding is that anarchs prefer to be sort of under the radar, and so Sweeper is not especially well liked because basically their job is to nose around town and collect information on different vampires that are in the city, just to make sure we know who we have.
Hmm. Okay. But is that a position you think we should probably get at some point? I mean,
Xandria's nodding.
yeah, because like otherwise we
Probably
kind
should.
yeah, because otherwise we kind of run into this situation where we don't know who all is coming and going, who is coming in with bad intent, you know. Um,
I think the question is who is going to be a good candidate.
Benjamin would.
yeah, I was gonna say Benjamin.
He is good with investigation.
Benjamin's already doing this sort of thing through our new company.
What is this new company?
We are making an effort to make inroads to the police department, specifically with the police chief, to help monitor what goes on in the city, and to tackle those issues that fall through the cracks, like when the police get a hold of something that they can't quite define. Like one of the first cases that we were told about was an individual that was shot several times at close range by a police officer. He got up, flipped off the police officer, and walked away while he was leaking green stuff.
And this is recent?
We haven't gotten the full details because we're currently working a trial process. This whole thing is still very new. We're trying to make the inroads, but that was one of the issues that the police chief had mentioned.
Okay.
I
That
have no
sounds
idea
like
what
a
that
good idea.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said I have no idea what that might be. Well, I think you're right. Benjamin sounds like he would be pretty good at that job.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like the kind who minds knocking around a couple of, knocking some skulls together if, people need it coming.
I think it's more just an observation kind of. I mean, maybe a little interrogation, but mostly just observation.
Well, yeah, but I think like in a job like that, you kind of need somebody who can be able to handle themselves in a situation like that. And like from what I've seen of Benjamin, he's got a cool head, and he's
He
got
is
a
good.
good
He's
yeah.
combat oriented. I mean, he is ready for the battle, and so I would agree. And like I said, he is good for investigation. So he is. I think yes, I think he would be a good choice.
He is a former private investigator and has worked with the police before.
Well, there you go. He is the man. So
Yeah.
Feel like I should make him some kind of a formal invitation,
I mean,
But
yeah,
that would be
maybe
very
like a name tag.
that would be very Toreador of you. I don't see why not.
a little badge.
you could probably go with Jesse. Jesse would be a good like a good buddy cop.
Uh, if forgive me for saying, Jesse was the animated corpse.
Yeah.
I think Jesse might call a little too much attention to him.
Yeah, we might get a few more oddity cases from the police department as we try to clean up others.
Oh, well, I'm thinking specifically in like the job of the sweeper of like going to contact new anarchs as they're entering into the city. Like I would feel bad sending Benjamin alone to go to kindred or Canite hotspots in
Oh,
order
you
to
mean okay? I see what you're saying in
yeah.
regards to okay. Well, yeah, I mean as muscle, of course.
Yeah. I didn't mean like to go and investigate with the police. I meant it like specifically as our um welcome to the city party.
I mean, honestly, I could be an invisible shadow with Benjamin when he goes to meet people. I could just be there, and so
I
the
can see
unknown
the smile curling on your face, Henri.
the unknown answers would be nice. So I could it's just my combat is more of a sneaky snip. So I could be you know
It's a good compliment to smashy, like what Benjamin can do.
And she pulls out a tablet and starts looking at it. And she says, "You don't have to use the term sweeper either if you don't want to, ma'am. I'm sure you could come up with another equivalent. From what I'm seeing here on the Anarch Free Press, they use Proctor, Sherlock, and sometimes Abacus.
I think Proctor sounds the coolest. Sherlock just sounds like it's making fun of somebody. Like, good job, Sherlock. And then Abacus. I mean,
Abacus is a good tool, but that was just reducing him to a tool. Then
I think they're
yeah,
leaning more to the effect of bean counter at that point.
yeah. I think. Well, what's a Proctor? I don't know. Well, no, Proctors are some people who like edit like when I took the SATs, there was like a proctor who was walking around making sure that like people were yeah. Proctor makes sense. So that's like an authority figure.
it does not matter to me.
Consider that.
So a proctor, which is a variant of a procurator, is a person who takes charge of or acts for another.
That fits, I think.
There's the word proxy. Is it? Yeah, I would see. So he is acting or speaking for the Baron in that case. So he is welcoming as for the Baron and giving the rules of the Baron when he greets them.
Mhm. Yeah, letting them know what our rules are, what we kind of expect from newbies, and also, you know, if they ever need us for something, here's a place where they can contact us. Or I think uh, I think that'll definitely help, especially if there's more and more people funneling in from other cities trying to get away from uh, either the cam or the Sabbat. Like letting them know that we're here to help as long as they're here to help. I think will
And it sounds like we're likely to get more.
Uh,
I mean,
to that point, perhaps someone should make a drop-off point or something for the Anarch Free Press.
What is this Anarch Free Press that you keep mentioning?
the same. I don't know what to do.
So she has that oh kind of face, and so she goes, "Okay,
I'm happy to
again,
see
I'm
that
not super familiar with how the Anarchs handle their business, uh, but my sire, an employer, has run across this before, and so he was already aware of what the Anarch Free Press was. It's a mostly non-digital movement or movement of communication for the Anarchs. Um,
Like flyers?
yes, very similar to what you would find on college campuses, like the small little pamphlet or flyers that let you know, hey, this is the event that's going on or whatnot. They tend to be
Okay.
very low circulation, from what I understand. There is a digital medium, but from what I understand, because of concerns to the masquerade, obviously it's muted to some degree. because of the security issues. But mostly it's kept in physical form.
That might be. So it's like it's a place where they go in order to get like sort of news about the goings on of, in this case, Ashland.
Or wherever.
Okay.
The Anarch Free Press, from what I understand, originated on the East Coast, and where population is much more dense, it was easier for traveling anarch coteries or just traveling anarchs to spread that information. Obviously, you run into the issue where you're spreading a packet that could be potentially old, but it may still have some potential, some information on there. Say, for example, the train museum.
Mhm.
You would leak it to the Anarch Free Press, and one of their editors or writers or whatnot would let people know that that is a meeting point.
Oh, so this wouldn't be something that we have to set up ourselves. This is something we would get them to print, and then we
Mhm.
would, I guess, have it here.
You could participate
Uh,
in it as well. It's not
None of us are printing
uh,
anything
well,
so far,
right,
so
but it is not something you couldn't partake in.
I was in the
It,
yearbook team in middle school.
oh, well, there you go,
Probably
sir.
would be something kind of like that.
I'm sure you would be good at it then. Trust me, the quality of some of the packets that I've seen coming out of Salem are amateurish. They're more for the information than they are for the professional quality.
I mean, I don't know if it was, if the free press was distributing like an interpretive dance, I'd be good at that. I don't know, um, but that's something, maybe that's something we should do. Like how often do we reach out to our like fellow anarchs like around the country?
I believe that's up to you to decide. I think if you want my honest opinion, perhaps a monthly as needed.
Okay, suddenly we don't feel as alone, which is kind of nice.
And to that point, I don't know if the rest of you are aware, but anarchs are starting to populate Salem, Oregon.
Isn't that dangerously close to where?
Yes, sir, it is.
I have been hearing inklings about that as well.
I talked to no one, so I did not hear anything. So
Uh,
It would seem Ashland is kind of become an inspiration to other anarchs, and they are starting to come to the region in an effort to rebuild uh, a new what's the term they called it? A free state?
have they established themselves? They have a baron and so forth, or is it they're still in the early stages?
No, Mr. Draybergen and uh, Ms. Maxwell were there. And it's fairly recently, within the past couple of weeks. They don't have any sort of baron or anything of that nature. They're just starting to come in.
And they're inspired by what we've done here. Like, does that would that mean that that makes Sophie by like their baron, or would they just be like, we're gonna start our own thing, and then we're like sister cities?
She says again, I don't fully know
would
anarch
guess
politics, if any.
there.
So
No, this is
I think
all new and interesting.
I think we're far enough removed that I mean I don't know anything about Salem. I think it would be really hard to I don't want to say rule, but manage um, someplace that far. Although Colin
Think,
has said that they have sorcerers too, so he'd like to go check it out.
I mean, think about all the chaos we could cause in somebody else's backyard as opposed to just our own.
You know, if nothing else, that kind of maybe will end up drawing attention away from us, or at least splitting attention as far as Portland goes.
I mean, it may also, if we get a good enough rapport with them, maybe we could also use that, like, not use them, but like
Work
it's
together.
it's good. There's gonna come a point where we're just gonna have to probably just put a foot down on the Sabat cockroaches that keep swarming our city. Having people at our backs, it was helpful when the hunters were here. Not that I really remember the outcome all that much, uh, but you know, having one of the most, I have to say, one of the most annoying things about being one of us is the constant feeling of like, is this where they turn on me? And for the first time in like a long time, I actually kind of feel like, oh, if they're inspired by us, like who knows, maybe we could be allied. Maybe we don't have to always like, wonder if our comrades are going to be the first ones to stab us in the back, or if it's going to be the hunters or the Sabbat or the werewolves or uh whatever, the people, the larpers. uh
I'd be very interested to find out what clans they are as well.
We
Yeah.
we met one that we are aware of. I did not get the clan of origin. There were more sorcerers actually there.
I kind of want
So,
to meet a sorcerer. I mean,
so
I've
is
been,
it are these sorcerers things that they are annexing?
Thanks for the subscription, Game Tease. Yay! Ooh, you got the head swivel from George there. Look out. He's meaning business.
You joined the party, parrot.
it's probably just a blur of hair.
No, I'm sorry. So what were you saying there, Todd?
I can't remember.
You were asking if
Oh,
the
is it you? You said there were sorcerers there, so I was saying, are the sorcerers considered anarchs?
They are not. It is currently a work in progress. This much I can speak to because I am aware of it. The understanding that they have going forward is that they're attempting to live together under one roof under the good neighbor policy.
Hmm.
It's an experiment because neither side has really done this before.
We have Colin, so and he is living under a vampire's roof too. So,
Well, technically, I'm living under his roof.
well, this is
This,
true, but
well,
at the very least. So,
semantics
is that gonna-
aside, this is two full political bodies, I should say, or sects of individuals.
that's also gonna are we gonna
I did not mention the sex.
yeah, we're gonna use Sophie and Colin as like look at what you can achieve if you work together. You can get your hot, yeah, you saw True Blood. Here you can get your hot vampire wife.
And you too can have a dog.
And then we'll just give everybody pugs. They kind of have like high pitches a little bit.
I mean, I don't know. I would be all for it if I got Jessica. Just saying. I mean, she was a bit hot.
I haven't thought about any of that stuff in like a long time.
She is very attractive. Yes, she was.
Hmm?
Who is Jessica again? Hold on.
Jessica was the young redhead vampire in the series.
Oh, in True Blood.
In True Blood, yes.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen it. That's George and Remus.
Oh, wow. Deborah Ann Wall is the actress's name. She was in Daredevil.
Oh, yeah, I know Deborah Ann Wall. She's
yes.
cool.
Yeah, she's a gamer.
Oh yeah.
Like actual gamer, not video gamer. Like
yeah,
runs D&D.
I watched her a little bit of her Relics and Rarities series.
Yeah, see, there you go. Okay, that was actually a good one.
Yeah.
So, anyways, back in game.
Yeah. But yeah, so we can make that our campaign for like the groups working together. is that, did you like Twilight or other stories where you can get a hot vampire spouse? Well,
If you want to lead with that one, that's a little contentious.
actually, that's a really good question. Is your relationship with Colin, is that taboo in either circle? I honestly, but as weird as everything else is, I never thought to ask if like what you guys are is like did your is there like a Hatfield and McCoy thing going on or Romeo and Juliet with like
I will say he is considered to have quite strange tastes, but I've met a number of his friends and or his colleagues, I should say, and I would like to think that our interactions have kind of warmed them a little to the idea of working with vampires in the future. So it's not exactly it's not like it's forbidden, it's just very unusual.
okay.
I mean,
So,
if I'm honest, like most vampires don't really think about relationships like that.
I
So
mean I certainly haven't since this happened to me.
that's more typical.
Huh. Okay. I
Just
guess
it's
it,
not a priority for most.
I guess I just wasn't sure if you guys were like star-crossed lovers, kind of like, oh, our love kid will never be recognized by our two groups. That's why we must blow things up in Ashland.
If Colin weren't independent, that might actually be more the case.
Oh, so even they have their own factions and the
Yes.
way that they see. Oh,
I don't
They
know
go
to
on
what extent, but from my understanding, it's at least as extensive as your kind.
And I would guess that each one is going to have different rules and different priorities.
and I don't even understand ours, so I'm probably not going to understand theirs.
Good to know.
In due time.
I find out new stuff every day.
But back to the other matter at hand. Did you want to summon your employee to get the information from the convention center?
Yeah, I would like to. Did we decide on a plan of approach? How we're gonna get in? Um, I don't know what my company does. Can I like go through like my business card and like see like what like does it say on my business card like what Remedic does? Or I don't remember what he called it.
No, it doesn't. And I don't remember the name of the company. I just remember it was an LLC.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. But can I ask him like
I'm gonna say, can you ask him?
You may just want to ask Liam and say, "Hey, we've got this idea. What are your thoughts?"
that's true.
I think
Uh
between us, we could certainly talk our way in.
yeah, you're definitely better at that stuff than I am, but I'm definitely practicing. I'm gonna spend some points in that stuff now that I've got some XPs.
400 XP.
I know. I'm gonna get five dots in everything.
5 dots in technology.
Yeah, I'm gonna get 5 dots in all the stuff I don't use, like etiquette, science.
He's
Uh,
gonna start making up traits. He's like, I have 5 in Homestar Runner.
yeah, I have 5 in cooking. I have 5 in cooking. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
From Home Cooking Mama.
yeah.
You
Uh,
go
I
to the secondary book. I get a 5 in archery, a 5 in juggling, a 5 in
yeah.
like.
My specialties in cooking are spices for Spice Bay and Gordon Ramsay. I don't know, like it was in the book. I can't say. Yeah, I don't remember. I can't find it in my notes what he named the company. But I have a lot of notes.
That's okay. We can figure out later. I just know it was an
Oh,
LLC.
I found it. Remus LLC.
Okay, well there you go. You just
You
Yeah.
call it Remus LLC?
So this was on my birthday when we played. It says, Jeeves is my butler. He cuts my hair. I have an LLC. Remus LLC? Question mark. I'm freaking out! Exclamation point. And then I wrote down,
Good
Adam
note.
put Benedict in control. That dick. Like when I write my notes, sometimes I write it from the like that I know like in the future. I'm like, George is going to read this, and I want him to know how I felt at that time. Um, but yeah, I'm
That's
gonna
awesome.
if I can't find it on the card, I'm gonna look it up on my phone. Like Remus LLC. Is there
Yeah.
a website?
No. Yeah, no website.
No? All right, so I'm gonna Professor Xavier. I'm gonna hey Benedict, what does the company do?
He said so. He's just like, yeah, it's a shell company to do whatever.
So, like, if we wanted to get access to to the footage of like from the cameras to sort of figure out who attacked who and who is doing what, like, could we use this business in like some capacity? I mean, I don't know.
Why
Like,
would you? Why would you want to announce your business coming up to the convention when it's closed?
well, because it could be like, oh, this is because it's a convention center. It's not owned by it's owned by the city. But like, if I go in from like a security standpoint of like, oh, we're Remus LLC, we're here to investigate the cameras. I don't know.
So you think we have a security firm?
That's what I was asking. I wasn't sure
No,
if
we
that
don't have
was.
a security firm.
Oh, okay. So I guess we'll just
You could
lie.
make a security firm if you wanted to. You've got the personnel for it.
Do we have?
I think
I
I
mean,
put down that it was like rare antiquities or something, so we collect stuff.
are we Hobby Lobby?
Hobby. Roll your willpower real quick.
That's very niche.
Okay.
Just difficulty 6.
All right. He's gonna punch me in the face. Okay. That is 2 successes.
Okay, so yeah, you feel a twinge in your hand as you come up to slap yourself, and you're just like, no. You caught it. Yeah, it looked more like you were just waving a bug away.
Okay. Oh.
Are you okay?
Yeah, no, we're having a discussion.
Oh,
Hobby Lobby. No.
Okay. I wasn't sure because like if you have extra antiquities in the Haven, that is the Mona Lisa in there somewhere. But yeah, regardless, I guess we'll just use.
Wait, if we got that, Sophie would come and look at it, wouldn't she?
God, what is your obsession with her? Like, couldn't you find somebody else? I mean, she's married, man.
She's a Toreador. They can't
Uh,
resist beautiful things.
Yeah, but no, I get the yeah, no, I understand the fixation with beauty they have. It's on your fixation with Sophie is it's making things a little awkward, man. I'm not gonna lie. She's kind of my boss, I think. I don't know. I don't know if
Okay,
you.
so play some Van Halen and get over it. You're hot for teacher.
No, you're hot for teacher. Like,
Yeah, so you guys hear
not
him
speaking
saying
out
this.
loud, is he?
Yes.
is he saying this out loud?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
At this point, yeah.
yeah,
By accident. I mean, it's one of those. It's like when you have that when you have that conversation internally, and you're walking through something, and you're kind of talking to yourself. Just like you're walking through kind of a debate or something, and you're getting yourself heated, because you're in that moment, even though you put yourself in that moment. So you're like, blah, just throwing it out there. And by the time you do that, you're like, yeah, that probably should have been inner monologue.
I mean, they know. I mean, you guys know. You guys know I
Yeah.
got issues. So,
So who is hot for the teacher?
not me. Don't worry about that. A certain someone is. Yeah.
Who
It's
is the teacher?
let's just say. I mean, is it a secret? I don't know. Bennett, he's got it. Well, I don't see now. I'm like worried that he's gonna feel like I'm giving too much of his secrets. But uh,
Are you stumbling like this in character right now, or
yeah, yeah. This is in character.
so? Can have I picked up on that? Maybe he's talking about Sophie over here, or
Why don't you give me a perception and what is that? Empathy check.
difficulty
6.
2.
Okay. Maybe.
Are you trying to say is that Benedict in your head is has a little bit of a crush on our Baron?
I don't. It doesn't. It doesn't because like that would imply love. I don't think love has anything to do with it. I think that he just likes hot things, and Sophie is a hot thing. No offense, boss. Are you my boss? I told him you were my boss, and I was like, wait, but is she my boss? Because either way, it just feels inappropriate.
Technically, yes, he is the Baron, so you are the boss. You don't like to. I know you don't like to say that, but that is your job to be our Baron. So,
Yeah.
I mean, however you want to look at it.
I mean, whatever way makes it to where I can make Benedict feel guilty about this, but I don't think it's possible. But I asked him
Oh,
about our
so that's what you're trying to do. Uh-huh. Give me a self-control check. Difficulty 7.
Oh, great.
God, that's only okay. That is a 10 and a 1.
Oh, so not
So,
okay. So he has that look again, like he's kind of distracted in thought, which you're getting used to with Remus when he's got a lot going on. And then he walks over to Sophie, and he says, "Sorry, boss," just like what he's doing now, and he gets down on his knees and kisses her feet.
Remus,
And then as you do that, Benedict clicks, "Let's go."
what are you doing, Remus?
You. Listen, boss. Yeah, no, that was not. Yeah. I feel like I shouldn't have to say anything, but like
Just,
you should know that wasn't me, right?
I get it, but
Yeah.
also, yeah, like it's okay. They're clean. These are very nice shoes.
What?
I mean, don't worry about it.
You haven't noticed? You're sitting here yucking it up. She loves her shoes.
I'm just very like both of your reactions, and I'll say this out loud too. Both of your reactions to this are like incredible. Like I don't know. I feel nothing but like if I could blush, I would. But like, I don't know.
Actually,
I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna like pick him up like by the arm.
Actually,
and,
go ahead and spend a blood point, since that's kind of how you feel. So yeah, you get a blush of health, and inadvertently, you get a little flesh in the face. Look a little bit more humane.
Yeah, I was like, I need a drink. Yeah, no, this is weird, and I'm walking away from it, and then I'm gonna sit down, and we're gonna pretend that last little bit didn't happen. Yeah, wasn't me. Like pointing at everybody wasn't me.
Yeah,
Apparently
Xander's like, yeah.
yeah. I'm going through some things. Also, apparently, my company doesn't do anything. Uh, so I don't know if we're going to be able to use that as an angle to get into into the convention center. So maybe
Ask
we just
him. Give the man a call and see what his ideas are.
uh, I mean, sure. Like he'll pretty much just kind of do what I say, but I'll
But
message
he,
Liam.
he may have ideas. I mean, I don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, I'll text Liam and I'll say, hey
Okay.
Liam, can you come up to the private room?
He texts back, just be a minute.
All right, thank you.
And a minute later, he comes back or comes up, into the private room where you guys are at.
Okay.
How can I help, boss?
Hey, so we were making a plan to possibly go to the convention center where the shooting happened, and
Okay.
we want to see if you might be able to peruse the security footage in order to see if you can spot the people who either started the gunfight or the people who were um essentially, we think that there were some of our kind there, and
Okay.
we want to see if if they were disguised, if they get picked up on camera, just to see if we can kind of see, you know, if they messed up somewhere and maybe they got caught, like at checkpoints or anything like that. The question is though, is we're not sure how we're going to get access to because I'm assuming you need to be like at the terminal to review that
Right.
information.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, so, like, do you have any ideas for how we could, like, get you in there in a convincing manner, or
So yeah,
should
he looks at Xandria for a second, and she looks at him, and they both kind of shrug. And he looks at you and he says, "Sir, we're trained for this sort of thing, right?"
I I regretfully don't really I know you and Eleanor are both incredibly capable, but I don't necessarily know everything that you guys can do.
Oh,
So
then yes, we can break in without being seen.
Would it be better or worse if we came with you?
Uh, I suppose we could bring you along. I don't see an issue, provided they don't have some sort of high tech security. But it's a convention center. I can't imagine they would.
I mean, Ben and I broke in the other day, and it wasn't that hard. I mean, we may have to go through some like a locked door, but I managed to pick it okay.
Yeah. So once I get inside, it shouldn't be a matter, or it shouldn't be an issue of bringing the rest of you in. If there's other methods of investigation that you want to use.
Yeah, I just yeah, I would feel better to be there. I wouldn't want to send you into a place and not be able to do something if something happened. And
Of
plus,
course. Okay. I mean, do I need to go now?
are we done here? Should we adjourn or
Might as well. I
okay?
don't know what else we can do from here.
Okay. Yeah, I'll down my drink and like hopefully my blush has faded by this point.
Yeah, it has.
If it hasn't, you just look human.
Yeah, I mean, you
So
do. You just look a little.
I
You don't
mean,
look pale anymore. You look human for a bit.
human
Yeah,
except for the gangrel stuff.
Well, yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah. It's more that like I think it's the first time like Remus has felt embarrassed like that, and probably since he's died. So like like that kind of feeling is like, oh, that's uncomfortable. Like,
So, as you guys are exiting at this point, Xandria looks to Henry and says, "Mr. Henri, would it be possible for you to do your disappearing act on the group when everyone gets there?"
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. She says, "Then I'll hang back with the rest of you. I then Liam can go on the inside and secure it to bring the rest of us in."
right, sounds good.
Okay.
Um,
So hop, skip, and a jump. You guys get in your respective vehicles, and because it's not that far away from Anzio's, go down to the the convention center, which no longer has the tape around at this point, but it's not very active again because it's nighttime.
Mhm.
Liam has disappeared off into the woodwork.
He's really good at that.
And at that point, you see Xandria looking at a watch. And then maybe a minute or two later, she looks back up and she says, Liam's done. We can go to the door.
Oh, okay.
How do you know?
Oh, he and I came from the same training facility. We already know each other.
Oh, that makes more sense. Okay.
So you could do it in the same amount of time? Is that what you mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
I gotta
it's a
give you one of those.
it's a small paranormal world. Well, all you need is just a couple $100,000, and this will go through the door.
Yeah, and she says,
Or was it millions? I don't remember.
yeah, there were more zeros, sir.
Okay.
But I understand the joke.
Yeah. No, I just forgot.
She's like, I am worth much more.
Yeah, exactly. Just like
How dare you? 200,000, good sir. Like,
you did not
that's all.
buy you
I was
did not
kind of-
yeah, you did not get my services at the Walmart.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I spent I paid for them in Dogecoin, so I'm not sure like, how much it actually worth.
Yeah, the two that you purchased were like around 35 million a piece or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I wrote all this stuff down, but like my notes are just like because it's in a sketchbook, so I'm like, okay, let's see. Where did I pay for this?
So with that, and of course, I'm already assuming that Henri had put obfuscate on everybody while you were waiting. You get in the inside, and between Xandria and Liam, you're making their way up to the security center of the convention center. Nobody is here. They're not even turning on most of the lighting just to ensure that no one thinks anything. Xandria posts herself up away from the group a little bit to keep an eye out, while Liam places his hand against the servers and is doing his thing.
While he's in there, like, are we anywhere near the area where the attack happened?
At the security center, no, you're not.
Okay. I'd kind of like to see if there's anything that I could spirits touch while we're here.
If you want to go down to the front of the convention center where it happened, you absolutely can.
But I'm also not sure I want to split away from the party,
Oh,
so I'll wait.
okay. She's like, so I'll wait.
It would have been funnier if you're like, I don't want to split away from the party, so off I go, and I'm gone.
And I'm going right out the door.
Go? Where did the bar go?
So after that, Liam kind of pauses and he looks over to Remus and he says, "Okay, sir, what am I looking for?"
We're looking for any people that are so essentially like one of the abilities that those of us like what Henri can do is that they can make themselves and other people look invisible, but we still get picked up on cameras. And so we're looking to see is there any person who is like looks kind of like a monster or like or somebody who is like hopping security things or essentially is like bribing security officials in order to bring guns in.
Gotcha.
Anything like that.
So he turns on some monitors to start accessing various video clips.
I'll
To start showing you guys what he's seen. What were you saying, Sophie?
Oh, I was like, yeah, look for a monster at the comic convention.
I mean, yeah. But I'll also show him a picture of the like umbrella like what their uniform looks like. If you see a group of people like these, see if you can kind of like track their movements through
Sure.
the convention center.
So he
Yeah.
doesn't find anything that fits your initial description. Like Brittany pointed out, find a monster at the convention. They're all over the place. What he does pull up, he shows you a video feed, and he says, one thing I want to point out here is he says, look at the timestamp. And if you look at the timestamp goes for like say for example it was at 7:10 p.m. It goes for about 10 seconds and then loops back to 7:10 p.m. again.
Oh, so they put like a loop in the camera to hide what was going on in that. How long does that loop last?
It looks like it's only for maybe 8 to 10 seconds. So it was likely enough for somebody in this hallway to get through a security door. So it does not look like whoever came through typical security, which would make sense.
Okay. Do we know where is that security checkpoint in the building?
He points on a map as to where it's at. It was on the southern side of the building.
Okay. Is that connected to the parking garage?
No, it is not. No,
Okay.
Parking garage is across the street. It's actually not connected to the convention center.
Okay.
He says the other thing I pointed out, you were asking for these tactical, people or whatnot. He points them out on, on several cameras where they posted up and took pictures and whatnot. They blended right in with the crowd. They would stop occasionally at various points to take pictures with people or post up near the Ghostbusters car or, some sort of, picture mark or a picture location, at the convention, and they just blend right in like they were a part of the group. At one point, some other Umbrella Corporation Resident Evil types posed with them, but they were easy to spot because their costumes were nowhere near as good. They were like, the obvious zombie or, Jill Valentine or something like that. None of the guys you were looking at were any face characters whatsoever.
Yeah, they're the Umbrella like Hunk and those guys.
Yes.
Did those guys ever take their masks off to like drink anything?
No.
Or were they always no?
They
Okay.
were always masked.
Okay.
The first time that they are visible on the cameras.
They were first visible at about 8 p.m.
And when's the last time they're visible?
When the conflict happened, which was about 8:30.
And you said it was 7 p.m. when the loop was placed, right?
Yeah, it was like 7:10.
Okay. And their first appearance at the convention show was it towards that? Was it in that area in the south, like where the loop in the camera feed had been placed?
Yes.
Okay.
And they just kind of gradually made their way around. It didn't look like they were moving
Like
in any
beeline.
specific. Yeah, they weren't moving in any specific pattern or anything.
Okay. I want to take some pictures of some of the people that were with them,
Mm-hmm.
the people in costume, because I'm thinking maybe what I could do later is like see if I can find any cosplayers that were like, hey, I got pictures with these really cool Umbrella people, and then see if maybe you could get some information from them. Like, hey, I'm looking for this. I'm looking to find out information about this group. Did you guys get like a card from them? Anything like, see if they can provide anything. I don't know. It's going to be helpful. But
So you're trying to get some identification from other people that took pictures with them?
just to see if like they said anything that was like that may be a clue to where they
Oh.
were where they were coming, where they were going.
Gotcha. No,
um,
actually, the only comments that and nothing's. I mean, given the fact that they're closed circuit caption or closed circuited cameras, you can't really make out a whole lot of audio. With the exception of the fact that maybe occasionally you hear them saying thank you or waving to people.
yeah. Okay. Let's see.
Security footage doesn't get audio, does it?
It does, but
Do we ever hear
it's
any
a
of them?
massive sound really because it's a bunch of people on a convention floor.
I was gonna say, do we ever hear any of them speak?
No, nothing you can make out because they're all wearing masks. And then at one point you end up seeing that they spot something and they all start making their way across the convention floor. And shortly thereafter, you identify Benjamin and Henri.
Those guys look like trouble.
Yep.
Do we see who shot first? Like in the.
He ends up pulling up another because that was a convention floor. So he ends up pulling up the video feed from right outside in the main hall area, and you end up seeing an explosion go off. Basically, what happened is they moved around into the main hallway, and they started they were either like leaning up against a wall or a chair or whatnot, looking like they were taking a break.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see that gargoyle person that he mentioned, along with two other people, or I should say not two other people, but him. He said Antonio and Agea were there, were the two that Henri was able to identify. And they go walking around the corner just past the umbrella people. And it looks like the way the security camera, he pulls it in from another side, and you see that you see the back of somebody that they're meeting that was there. And then the explosion goes off. And from what you can tell, after the explosion, it looks like the umbrella people just sprayed the hell out of the people that were there. And what you do end up seeing is you end up seeing somebody go down. Based on the shape, it was probably a Gaia, and because Agaea's form and whatnot, because she's very obviously a gargoyle, is easier to spot in the smoke and confusion, and they go and they take it to the outside. And what little you're able to capture from the outside security footage is it shows them running out to a waiting bland looking SUV, and as they're doing that, somebody's coming out from the smoke and blast and whatnot, and that's where the rounds and you didn't recognize them from the blast area, so it looks like maybe they could have been close behind or something, but they came running out. Somebody from across the street in the parking tower or the parking garage fired some rounds, and two of them got caught. They took apparently a lot of damage and moved back, from what you can tell.
Cool.
So wait, so the sniper, did they hit Agea and the Sabat guys, or did they hit the umbrella people?
The sniper hit what would presumably be the Sabat guys.
Okay.
And
so
from what you can tell, the people who made their way out of the umbrella guys who made their way out to the SUV and threw them, basically they all piled into one, or not SUV, sorry, van. They all piled into one, and as it went racing out, two others that were identical raced out as well.
And I'm guessing we can't get like license plates or anything from the.
No, not from this footage. Unfortunately, not.
Okay.
That's going to be my question.
And there's no way we can tell who the Sabat we're meeting.
You see the back of the person.
Are they like broad-shouldered dude or like?
Best
Or
way
they're
to
wearing a
describe it, about average height, above average build, not beefy or muscular or whatnot. Wearing beat up denim jeans and a brown shirt with long hair.
What color hair?
Brown.
Could our two biggest annoyances be working to like? Do we think like would Max hate work with Sabat?
Got no clue.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm trying to think of who this person could be. I mean, it could be anybody, but long hair, denim, brown shirt. Did we ever clock Max 8 like before he like changed? Like would we think that this might have been his build, or was he like a bigger dude than this?
No, he would have been a bigger dude than this.
Okay.
Even though you never got a good look at him, you know enough from being up close to them in Krynos form and whatnot. Yeah, he would have been stockier than this.
Okay.
Plus, he probably would have had some firearms or something on him. This guy didn't have anything like that.
Okay. Does this person look familiar to any of you?
Does he look familiar to any of us?
Yeah.
The back? No.
Do they have the profile of a severe hottie? Because I have two in my notes that
We will say above average.
Okay, above average hottie.
From the back?
From the back.
Nice butt.
Yep.
I'm a
nice ass. Oh yeah, he must work out.
I'm a shoulders and upper back girl myself.
I'm not gonna say anything because Benedict's gonna get me in trouble.
Does the footage give any from the footage? Are we able to tell where in the parking garage the shooter was?
No.
Okay.
At the elevation it was at, it was likely above the camera's view.
Now that we've got a build and like the outfit of the person that they met with.
Mm-hmm.
Could I ask Liam now to be like, can you track this person through the convention center now that we have a different person to look for? Like,
yeah, I think. Give me a couple minutes to backtrack.
Yeah, I'm sorry to ask so much of you. I don't know. I pay you guys, right?
Yes, sir. You pay us.
Okay. I'll give you the. I don't know what I'll make it up to you. I really appreciate your help.
Maybe this is part of his job.
It's quite all right, but yeah, just give me a few minutes and let me see what I can come up with.
I just don't know. Like, I don't know how to treat them. It feels weird, like because I want them to be my friend, but also like they treat me like I'm a master, and I'm like, can we just play video games or something? Like, yes, sir, we will play video games. Would you like to win? It's like, come on, man.
I'm standing right here, sir.
No, I know. No, I know. Listen, listen. It's my first day.
So he starts going through and trying to come up with some more, and it takes about 10 minutes because he's having to go through the footage, and he's like, I don't have many good shots of him. I do have one, but it looks like he may be dressed up or masking his visage. And he pulls up another camera shot, and it's very brief. It's like the guy is doing a good job of blending in with the crowd, but he stops at one particular vendor. Looks like a new age vendor, or something on the the vendor floor. And so again, he looks very pale, but he has what appears to be like blue writing on his body, primarily around his face.
Is he showing us this footage?
Yeah.
Do I recognize this person?
I don't know. Have you met this person?
I believe so.
Sophie's met. I'll tell you what. Okay, I'll give you a Post Malone. I'll give you a roll for it. Give me a wits and alertness difficulty 7.
And that's a botch.
Oh, okay. If you had to take a guess, that's Adam.
Does Adam have writing on his face?
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know where he got these clothes, but don't you think it looks a lot like him?
What do I think?
Isn't Adam like kind of built, or
He
have
is.
I? So does this build look like Adam's?
Not quite. No.
There's just something about him.
I don't know. This guy looks like I could take him, so I don't think it's Adam. Because I think Adam's like you were saying, you're a shoulder, like shoulders and back, like Adam's, like he's pretty big. But that's
I don't know. There's something there.
And he stopped at it. Well, I don't know, because he's not wearing the kilt. Like if it was Adam, why is he like? Adam never dresses up for anything.
No, that's true.
No, that's not true, Sophie. You know better. Music video.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, not like of his own volition.
Wait, hold on a second. Adam is in your music video?
It was really weird.
Yes.
He did this.
Did you were you like, listen, Adam, we would really love it if you'd be in our music video, or did he just show up?
I did not know he was going to be there. I know, it's super weird.
Yes.
So he's like the dude in the Terminator Salvation thing. We're just walking on set, just like whatever, not paying attention to the filming. Like
I believe Isadora asked him to be there.
that seems so like you guys are so weird.
You should watch it again. It was pretty cool. Like he was very like
I have not seen your video. This
primal.
You guys make me feel normal. That's how weird you guys are.
I have not seen this video. I want to watch this.
But that being said, now that they've kind of bantered back and forth about it, maybe you got that wrong.
Maybe I got it wrong?
Yeah.
But Adam has blue writing on his face.
But you have seen that style of makeup before. 2 times at least on Adam as well as Damaris.
All of us or just Sophie?
Oh, well, Sophie specifically. But
Okay.
you guys have seen something similar on Damaris before. When you guys went to the fight when she decorated herself all up.
Okay.
Which fight?
In the forest.
The Burnination fight.
Dragnor!
Pretty much.
Okay.
When does Irene also paint herself when she goes to fight?
Does who?
Kyrene.
Oh, yes. Yes, she does.
So I've noticed that as well.
Mhm.
Is that like 2 and 2 and 2?
Who would you think that might be then?
I mean, Brittany knows who it is from the clues.
Okay.
Is that for Soap? Is that enough for Sophie to put the dots together?
You could make the guesstimate, sure.
So
is
I
this-
should roll again.
No, you could go ahead and make the guess. You're not completely sure because you failed the roll, but it's kind of specific.
I think this is a Leannon thing.
Have we met Leannon? Have I met Leannon? I'm sorry.
Leannon the clan.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So this is Damaris? Is she Leannon?
Yes.
So they came here to meet.
So is Kyrene.
Can we save this picture and show to Damaris? Or text it to her in some fashion?
Yeah, he just pulls it off and pulls up on your guys' phone in the group chat. Whoop.
Guy's so useful. God, thank you.
Lady Baron, can you summon Damaris to reply to see if she recognizes her or him? Sorry.
Should we do that? Text this picture to Damaris.
What's in the group chat?
Is their clan common? I have not heard of that name before.
No, it is not common. It is very not common.
That's why I think she may know him.
So you see the little bubbles coming up from an incoming post. And Damaris types, okay, why did you guys throw this picture up in here?
No, I'll text. This is who the Sabbat were meeting, or this is who our the Gargoyle fans were meeting at the Comic-Con before it popped. I'm trying to be vague.
Okay.
Our phones, like, I don't know if our phones have like
secure.
Actually, no. Everybody currently has new phones from Trudy.
But
that was done a while ago. You guys might not remember, but yeah, they're encrypted phones.
Okay, well then, yeah, I won't be vague as long as I know the NSA isn't watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or less likely because they're encrypted. But yeah. So she says, that looks like my sire. What's the deal?
They I'll type up, like, they were meeting with the Sabbat Gargoyle and Antonio, was that his name? At the Comic-Con when the Umbrella Raider bomb people attacked.
Okay, so she types all caps, news to me.
I turn towards the camera for a dramatic zoom in. No.
Insert Seinfeld teaser. And with that, we'll go ahead and pause since we ran a little bit over.
We're gonna pause at that moment, like we're.
Yep. where Remus is making awkward duck face at the camera for credits.
Oh, jeez.
All right, so thank you guys all for who tuned in and watched, and of course the stream will be up soon. on YouTube. We will be playing again in 2 weeks, which would be the 29th. We will not be playing tomorrow because I'm going to be celebrating my birthday. Going to the real Anzios, who I patterned it after here in town.
I was going to say, what? There's a real Ansios?
There is, yeah. Look it up in Phoenix, Arizona.
Do they have a gluten-free menu?
No, they do not.
Okay, good. That's...
Is that a good sign that they don't have a gluten-free menu?
Well, it's the allergen-free menu, but
Oh, that's right, allergen-free.
yeah.
Do they have an allergen-free menu?
They do not.
Vampires don't eat gluten either.
Okay. They probably changed it to be something that normal people wouldn't order from.
Probably. But
How do they know when to give you the allergen-free menu?
their waiters and waitresses are equipped with auspex.
This is the real restaurant?
Yes, the real restaurant. Staffed by real ghouls.
Okay.
Ooh.
Hey, welcome to Anzio's. You want to try the gabagool from a ghoul?
Gabagool from a ghoul. Oh my goodness.
I apologize to any people I might have offended with that bad accent.
That's all right. I'm Sicilian, so I don't care.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, so we'll be playing again then on the 29th. Hope you guys had a good time. I'm going to go ahead and sign out from here. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Oh, yeah.
We're